on September 11th, 2001. I remember I was at work in Clearwater, Florida, and a bunch of commotion, conversations started happening about go look at TV, and I did, and that was after the first plane struck the first tower, and then I was standing there and actually watching the news as the second plane struck the second tower. And I don't know, I guess my biggest feeling in the midst of that was a lot of anxiety, what is going on, and I guess a little bit of a worry for the people that are involved, the people that are inside of the buildings, and the people that are having to respond to that.
I remember on 9/11, I was in high school, at Oakland High School, and I remember walking into biology class, and I remember everybody was just kind of quiet, and the atmosphere just had like a really weird vibe, I guess, and people were kind of whispering amongst themselves, and we were sitting there, and I remember watching the second plane crash, and it was really not understanding a whole lot of what was going on, but being very scared for the future and for everybody that was involved.
What I remember is I was in high school, at Riverdale High School. I was my senior year. Remember being in class, and we had the television on, and the news channel showed one of the planes had just hit one of the towers. My teacher was really upset, started crying, and was in and out of the room, and actually postponed class. So while we were sitting there, I remember watching the TV, and I remember seeing the other plane hit the building, the second tower, before anything was going on about the events. I remember that our teacher came back in and said that she had family and friends in New York, and she was worried about them. And I remember the rest of the day just kind of feeling, that something was going on, but we really didn't know what it was at the time. And I just remember being really sad about the events. And I mean, everyone was just kind of different that day. No one was really the same happy, usual self.
I remember being in school, and I was going to my next class, and I walked into the classroom, and the teacher had it on the TV, and it showed the tower with all the smoke, and I asked what happened, and the teacher said that a plane had crashed into the World Trade Center, and my first thought was like, what a horrible accident. And after a few brief moments, it was obvious that it wasn't an accident, and it was that feeling of, from then on, kind of your innocence was lost, and like now we're dealing with terrorist attacks and things like that. It's not accidents, it's all these terrorist attacks kind of thing. So it was that feeling of just, sad, angry, confused, just all that rolled into one.
My mom was under the carport sweeping, and she was a school teacher at the time, and it was weird because she'd gotten home before I did. She never gets home before me. And so I remember her just grabbing me, and she hugged me for a while, and I kept thinking, this is really awkward, why is this hug taking so long? I've been to school. It's not like, I was in a car wreck. And she told me what had kind of happened, but I just remember like the next week, or maybe even the next 2 weeks, every time we all got home, we were eating together as a family. We watched TV together, and I just remember watching the news for like the next solid week or two. Like that's all we would watch was the news. And just, I do remember like the next day just how patriotic this country became on 9/12, and I wish we had that again. And so
what I remember is I was at work. I worked the midnight shift, and I lived in San Diego at the time, and I was actually driving a truck for a furniture company, and I remember listening to everything on the radio as it happened, being that it was a few hours ahead of time from the West Coast. And I just remember getting home and really just wanting to be with friends and family at that time, knowing that the country was going to go through some change, but I just remember wanting to be with the people that I had surrounded myself and being with my family at that time. Afterwards, a few years afterwards, especially after the Iraq War started, it had been weighing on me, and that I had not joined the military like my family had done. And so with my wife's blessing at the time, I made a decision and joined the military, and it was probably one of the best things I ever did.